Let's get started. This question comes to us from Jay, and Jay writes this. Dear We, is there a way to utilize both traditional liturgy and AV, audiovisual technologies? My church has recently got a projector that is used to display everything right before us. Our hymnals have been placed into boxes and put into storage. The AV was supposed to be a supplement, but now seems to be a hindrance to what the divine service is supposed to be. Thanks, Jay. Jay, to answer your question briefly and right to the point, yes, there is a way to combine the liturgy, the historical liturgy, and also with PowerPoint. And that is through something called the Lutheran Service Builder. It's a program that is made, that's put out by our church, and it basically takes our precious, beautiful divine liturgy from our Lutheran service book, our settings 1 through 5, matins and vespers, evening prayer and all that, and it puts it in a computer program. And from that computer program, you can generate bulletins such as this. This is what we use here at Zion. It has basically, this is setting 1 with all the prayers and the introit, the scripture passages, and on the bulletin announcements, and we give this to the people and we encourage them to take it home so the divine service goes with them into their homes. But you can also, with the Lutheran Service Builder, with basically one click, you can click and generate a PowerPoint that is actually formatted for PowerPoint projectors. Now, 2 words of caution when it comes to that, 2 big words of caution. Number 1 is this. Anytime you use something such as a bulletin or a PowerPoint projector, there's a temptation for the pastor and the church to start monkeying. Yes, monkeying with the divine service. In other words, it's really quite easy to come over to a PowerPoint slide and hit delete and maybe toss out the Kyrie, or hit delete and toss out the confession of sin and absolution. And the temptation goes this way, that basically maybe the church doesn't jive with a certain section or it doesn't make sense, and before you know it, you start eliminating and moving things around within the PowerPoint projector, and before you know it, the church has actually concocted something that does not resemble the divine service whatsoever. So a huge word of caution there. The second word of caution is this, is there's a temptation in our culture to believe that the use of visuals, a PowerPoint in a church, is advantageous to retention. In other words, we say that we're such a visual culture, everything we look is visual, so why not have visual in the actual divine service? Now here, let me just share this with you. There was a study that was recently done by a guy named Pastor Dale, Pastor Joseph Meyer, and he did a study, a doctoral ministry study, and his whole purpose was to actually prove that the use of a projector, a PowerPoint projector in the service, especially for the sermon, would be advantageous to retention of sermons. So he set out over 3 to 4 months to prove this, that the use of a projector would be a good thing using visuals. And here, to his surprise, this is what he found. He found that sermons with pictures only in the PowerPoint were the least effective. And then he found that sermons with pictures and words were better than pictures only, but not as good as words only. And then he found that sermons with words only in the PowerPoint were the most effective. Now, this doesn't maybe make sense, but briefly, let me just share with you. If you have a PowerPoint slide with Peter in the boat and Jesus walking on water, and you see the boat and you see the water, what can happen as we're listening, we'll be distracted looking at that picture. At least for me, the next thing you know, I'm thinking about fishing later that afternoon down at Buffalo Lake, and I'm not listening to the sermon. And that's exactly what Pastor Meyer found. And so the 2 words of caution would be, 1, that we can actually monkey with the divine service with PowerPoint, and number 2 is this believing this myth. It is a myth that the use of visuals in the service will help with retention, which it certainly is not. It's actually more than anything else a distraction. So my suggestion would be, stick to the word, stick to the printed word, proclaim the gospel, stick to the divine service that has actually stuck through for all these years. Hope that helps, and we'll catch you next time.